Hello, this is Sonia with Food for Thought, in my humble opinion, by Sonia De Lorraine, video number 4. First, I'd like to start off by saying I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving vacation. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a great vacation because it was Thanksgiving. It was a long weekend, so we've got some backpedaling to do I've got some backpedaling to do on some of my opinions, humble opinion. So this is video number 4. I'm going to backpedal to the Presidential Medals of Freedom. Regarding President Obama's list of recipients for the Medals of Freedom, in my humble opinion, aren't all those listed the same who rallied for Hillary on behalf of Obama? And only now, before he leaves office, they are deemed this award? Patience is a virtue, so I ask that all those opposed to his so-called tactic remain virtuous. It's just an award, and awards are made up every day. So please do not allow it to incite any negative behavior, because that may or may not be its main objective. So either way, let's not allow it to do so. It warrants no opposition because it's nothing unless you allow it to be. For example, I do believe in witches. I do. I do believe in witches. I do, said the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz. Would be like our reluctantly saying, I do believe in awards. I do. Pardon me. I do believe in awards. I do. For fear it would affect us not to, or even to believe in them, when we are the ones who choose to believe in them or not, as well as their impact. Therefore, I do not personally believe in nor concede in it, as it is my right as an American to believe or not, and to express that belief by way of personal opinion, which seems to be the general consensus. So let's move on, shall we? Pardon me. Liberty holds the scales of injustice in balance to keep them from teetering too extremely or too far to the left, or too extremely too far to the right. And she does so blindfolded. And I think at this time, this visual is very important for us to remember. Liberty is being aware that for every action, there's an equal or greater reaction. Thereby, it is that same civil liberty needed to balance such extremes, keeping a modicum of civility. I, for one, am sick of all the tactical warfare by those who pompously self-appoint simply because they feel they are entitled to, or because they are popular or more influential, or the elite. And that's what we call the elite. And this type of award that was given merely feeds into that, whether that was the basis or not. It's time for us to move on and forward, never looking back, no matter what they stage, because they're going to stage a lot. It's all just a tactic and does not deserve our reaction. But instead, we need to keep balance, because we are Americans, and that is what we do as an American patriot with civic pride. This seems not the case with many popular elites, while patting themselves on the back. That's not all of them. I'm just saying. Let President have this, even if for all the wrong reasons, in your opinion. For this is his, and may just be all he has now. For after the U.S. House of Representatives took a major stand against him by voting 240 to 179, allowing Congress to stop and remit any last-minute rules and regulations approved by him as acting president until the new president is sworn in. Now, about those who are upset about Hillary not winning, I would like to paraphrase. It's their party, and they can cry if they want to, cry if they want to, cry if they want to. You would cry too if it happened to you. So let them. They do not be affected by their cries, for what seems a sorrow can often be angst filled with battle cries, or so seems to be the pattern that I've seen. About many of those same supporters being honored with this presidential award, I will say, it's their party. Let's move on. Then are rallying against one's selective award choices, especially, let's see, especially this award ceremony, which held by our president, which is still afforded him. For we should not worry if we are honored at their ceremony. After all, it's blatantly obvious it's theirs, and we were not invited to their party. Basically, it's a my house, my rules scenario, or so it would seem. And with all due respect, we have much better things to do with our time than to deny their right to give themselves award and I can't say this word, accolade, honor, no matter how biased or self-appointing it might seem to us. If this is a tactic, truly a tactic, this should go unnoticed, if not completely ignored and only seen as a tactic in vain by our not allowing it to affect us. No reaction is the best reaction because we are the American people and we are not the entitled few. We are not the popular elite, so we need to suck it up, roll up our sleeves, and ask what we can do that is of a more positive note in support of our country, our countrymen, our president, to make our America great again. For to do so, we have to take a higher road and stand on moral high ground. Amen. I can still say amen, I think. In closing, I wish to remind that this award ceremony is simply the presidential medal. That's terrible. That was an accident. In closing, I wish to remind that this award ceremony is simply the Presidential Medal of Freedom and not awarded by Americans on a whole. For if this award were truly given of the people, by the people, and for the people, I hardly think we would give any prestigious award to someone who, anyone in particular, bullying a candidate by use of physical force. And on mainstream media, because that's just a bully having the right of way. Yes, he had the right, but having the right does not always make it right. Having that freedom does not warrant anarchy nor tyranny. What message are we sending to the youth today? That there is strength in numbers, right or wrong? That mob mentality is okay? That when a bully wins by oppression and status quo bias, then bullying is acceptable? Certainly, issues are not gray, being they are black and white. Pardon me. Certain issues are not gray, being they are black and white. As many things are either right or they are wrong, and popularity should have no say over these parameters. Again, I'd like to stress, certain issues are not gray, and the parameters decided upon by popularity. Nor would we have given a medal to a bully for their part in what I feel is a film that degrades women, like Dirty Grandpa. Again, this is my humble opinion. Merely because they are popular, when in reality they are playing a vital part in programming minds into accepting the status quo bias. What's acceptable now? By using their influence to change these acceptable parameters, already accepted parameters. Look at a program today, any program, and see if you notice the parameters that are being pushed from what were once acceptable even 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, in the name of freedom. I'm not saying we have to go backward, but maybe not be in such a hurry to go forward. We forget to coast a bit when you do that, and we forget to enjoy what we have now. In other words, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Freedom to do what you want by any means possible is not synonymous with our civil liberties, which oftentimes is clouded by their propaganda or dogma, misleading the masses by disinformation and ideology. And again, if this medal were awarded by the American people on a whole, I doubt they would give a medal for someone simply defending one singular faith, rather than we, the people, might award someone for defending other Americans the right to all faith. For to quote our president in his live presentation, stating to this person, for standing up to their Muslim faith, is very biased in that it was given to someone for defending his own personal right to one particular faith, as in a reward system, and was not given for protecting all Americans, all their rights to their own faith as well, including Christianity. If all were rewarded with medals for defending their faith or religious beliefs, then that would take forever and a day. We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this very important public announcement. Remember that. We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this very important public service announcement. Remember that. Programming and a public service. Anyway, nor would this medal by the people be given to a television producer who doesn't just test the boundaries, but pushes them, which is a form of pulling out the rug from underneath most Americans, never allowing a semblance of balance. And isn't that special? That the same church lady used to insult those who do stand up to their faith, that is not Muslim, that singular faith, would sanction its producer such accolades and awards in this Presidential Medal of Honor. Sorry, but for interrupting your regularly scheduled programming for that very important public service announcement. Now we're going to get to that a bit. Who decides their programming? Who regulates this interruption? Who decides what is so vital to announce publicly? Well, that thought I will share another day, and now it's something to think about for the moment. Back to this original thought. After watching this show, I call it a show, I realized that some things just never change. Same tactic with similar venue. For instance, award equals respect, with intention, possible intention, that the general public will follow suit and be influenced by those who are put up on those pedestals by these awards. I'm not saying that this list of elite are not entitled to an award, because I am sure they are, just not measured by my idea of freedom. But it's not my award show, it's his. Thereby, the president has the liberty to give these awards out all day, every day, until he leaves office, and to whomever he chooses, for whatever reason he deems fit, because it is not on behalf of the American people on a whole, but instead it's the President's Medal of Freedom, which means it is his choice, lest we forget. A note for you is that the president can confer the awards on persons not nominated by anyone. However, normally each component of the Department of Defense will nominate recipients through the Secretary and the Public Service Awards panel. The current Secretary of Defense is Ashton Baldwin Ash Carter. We can agree or not, but it's still not up to us. It's up to President Obama, who received the awards he gave out. So I suggest we accept that fact and gracefully move on. Forgive me for saying some of these words incorrect. I'm trying to speak with some clarity because I oftentimes speak too quickly. Anyway, though based on this year's recipients, I was quite surprised Hillary and or Bill Clinton were not up there also receiving an award for all their combined efforts in changing the world into what these two may worldly envision it to be. There's an idea. We can nickname it the Presidential Medal of Worldly Freedom, for their theme of world change and their freedoms to do so seem to be the basis of these honorees. Again, in my humble opinion. Or better yet, maybe nickname it the Presidential Medal of All Freedoms, noting that we all have the freedom to do anything in the name of change, even if it infringes on the constitutional rights of others, whether it's right or wrong, because it is certainly not awarded in the name of the American people on a whole. There's that strength in numbers mentality again, even if it means tearing down the American Constitution set in place to govern and protect all Americans, including those who would attempt to tear it down by any means possible. Oh, and by the way, the fact that many of these recipients happen to be pro-Hillary and anti-Trump was an incidental coincidence, I am sure. That's sarcasm, by the way. And I no more try to take away anyone's earned honor than one would our president-elect. This has been in my humble opinion. Now, I want to state, in addition to this humble opinion, that we need to respect this is the President's Medal of Freedom. I want to also note that it's not a Medal of Honor. So don't get those two confused. It's the Presidential Medal of Freedom. All right? So it is his freedom to give these awards. And I wanted to note that some of those people that received the award, Robert Redford, that I can think of, have not been anti-Trump. So we want to remember that if it's sprinkled in there with so many, again, it's not all of those on there, though there were many, I do admit. Also, freedom, understand what freedom means. Someone has a freedom to smack me upside the head, and someone even has a freedom to use that, what I just stated, in sarcasm against me. But it doesn't make it right or wrong, all right? So I'd like to state again, this has been my humble opinion, all of this, in my humble opinion, by Food for Thought, in my humble opinion, by Sonia De Lorraine, this 28th of November, after the Thanksgiving holidays, 2016, video number 4. Thank you so much, and God bless.